One of the most famous feuds in Hollywood of all time took place between these two legends, Joan Crawford and Bette Davis. It was a grudge born of professional and personal resentment, and maybe just a soupçon of frustrated sexual attraction as well. This is the story of just how much these two women hated each other. Alright, so the whole thing kicks off in 1933. Joan Crawford is an established actress by this point, and Bette Davis is just starting to break through, and her first major breakout role came in the comedy Ex-Lady, and this was going to be her launch into Hollywood, and the studios had planned loads of interviews and publicity, and they were really going to push her. But on the day the film came out, Joan Crawford announced that she and her husband were getting divorced, and suddenly that was all anybody could talk to. This film was relegated to just a tiny paragraph in the back of the pages somewhere, and Bette Davis never, ever forgave her for that. I mean, I don't think she did it on purpose, Betty, but okay, you do you. The next incident comes in 1935 when Davis is working on a film called Dangerous with the very handsome Franchot Tone, who she falls wildly in love with, like completely wholeheartedly, only he announced that he was going to marry Joan Crawford. And the pair of them would flaunt their relationship in front of Davis. Crawford later saying something along the lines of, "Oh, Franchot really respected Bette Davis as an actress, but he never thought of her as a woman." Like, ouch. And Davis was convinced for the rest of her life that Joan Crawford had done that on purpose. But Davis wins an Oscar for her performance in Dangerous, and she didn't think that she was going to win, and she didn't want to go to the Oscars, and in protest to that, the studio made her go. And in protest, she wore this really, old, I think it was a costume, a really, old frock, and then she wins, and she has to go up on stage wearing this old dress. She sat next to Crawford and her now husband. Crawford refuses to move, won't move until her husband, literally pulls her out, and then she stands up, turns around, looks at Bette Davis and goes, "Darling Betty, what a lovely frock." In the 1940s, Crawford moves from MGM to Warner Brothers, which is the same studio that represents Davis, and she tries to rebuild the bridges by sending her gifts and flowers, and every single one of them is returned. Every single one. Then Bette Davis turns down the role in the film Mildred Pierce, only for Crawford to take that role and win an Oscar for it. She did the same thing almost with the film Possessed. Davis turned it down, she took the role, and she got an Oscar nomination for it. In 1952, Catherine Albert wrote The Star, apparently after a falling out with Joan Crawford, and it's the story of this washed-up, has-been actress clinging to her past glories at any cost. It was made into a film, and guess who they got to play that title part? And of course, Davis absolutely relished this opportunity. And I think it's round about this time as well that she said of Crawford that she slept with everyone at MGM apart from Lassie. Now, it hasn't gone unnoticed how much these two absolutely hate one another, and film producers and audiences were desperate to get them in something together, and it finally happened in